if your billability, and thus your value to the company, began to shrink, everyone knew it. We were so obsessed with accumulating hours that we barely spoke to each other. I was caught between the push of the controlling company culture and the pull of my more free-spirited temperament. I let my frustrations seep in and take over. To fight the blues, I took some Zoloft my doctor prescribed, which made me feel dry-mouthed and numb. To give myself a jolt of adrenaline, I woke up before dawn every morning, left the house while my family was still sleeping, and started my day with an intense CrossFit workout. But in the end, no amount of air squats and burpees could fix my sense of despair at work. I was hardly alone in feeling such deep frustration. In a 2018 poll of about 30,000 American workers, Gallup found that despite an increase in the number of people who report themselves satisfied at work, most of the respondents were still not emotionally connected to their work and classified themselves as not engaged. They generally showed up and did the minimum required of them, but they'd leave the job if they found a slightly better option. Of those, 13% described themselves as actively disengaged, with miserable work experiences. Meanwhile, 67% said they were sometimes, very often, or always burned out at work. This certainly would have described a lot of people at Burson-Marsteller, but not everyone. There was one guy who seemed immune to the petty infighting and the ambient malaise that seemed to infect everyone else. His name was Michael Clays, but we called him 007 because he was the consummate mystery man. After the office adopted business casual attire, Michael stubbornly stuck to his pressed white shirts, suits, and solid red and blue ties. No one knew exactly what he was working on, but he counted big blue-chip companies, including Clorox, among his clients. Once, somehow, he brought in the government of Indonesia for an assignment that went on for years. He came and went as he pleased. His office looked like the aftermath of a tornado. He had no clear supervisor because most of the company was afraid of him. I wasn't interested in people's timesheets, he reflected to me recently. I didn't worry about concepts like billability or how many hours people worked. Hence, I was considered to be a lousy manager, which didn't bother me at all. We used to joke that if Michael stopped showing up for work, it would take someone 6 months to muster the courage to ask where he went. Once, when his office phone stopped working, Michael called IT to get a new one sent up. Like at any big corporation, an IT ticket had to be created, approved, and then wind its way through the queue, which could take days. But Michael had no patience for bureaucracy, so he smashed the phone and sent the head of the New York office shards of plastic and wire in interoffice envelopes with a note, "Replace my phone." Michael got away with all kinds of off-the-wall behavior because, at the end of the day, he was valuable to the agency and brought in millions of dollars per year. He was like a hunter who ventured into the jungle, shot a meaty animal, and dragged it back to feed the village. He was moved by the thrill of the chase, and he relied on gut instinct rather than on some elaborate playbook. The farmers, like many of my colleagues at Burson-Marsteller, were civilized folks. They respected precise divisions of labor, valued collaborative work, and kept exacting schedules. They made it possible for Michael to disappear for weeks at a time to haul in a whale of a client. Just like early human civilizations did, the modern workplace needs both hunters and farmers to thrive. The more I've experienced workplaces like Burson-Marsteller, the more I've discovered renegades like Michael Clays who seem to be operating by their own set of rules. In HR corporate speak, they are considered non-traditional hires. They constantly butt heads with their more civilized colleagues, but are allowed to remain somewhat autonomous because of the immense value they bring to the organization. When I eventually quit my job and restarted my own communications boutique, I intentionally sought to work with people like Michael. One day I was speaking with my business partner, Liel, trying to